Thank you. You took the first part of my presentation, but I will go through it anyway. Wanted to comment just on a timeline of technology and how it's influenced our lives in the last more than 40 years. To go really to the focus in the late 90s and early 2000s, as Parag indicated, a lot of the companies, the household names that we speak about today and we use constantly existed back in the early 90s or in some many years even before then. And that their vision of the world we live in today existed. They were talking about it with financial analysts, tech analysts, and that vision created what became the internet bubble in 2002, 2004, in that time period. Because the infrastructure, as Parag also mentioned, wasn't in place at that time to support the vision that we're living in today in terms of technology usage. As you probably recall, we had dial-up internet, we had beepers, pagers, a really old device called a BlackBerry, things like that to communicate. And our children did not play with those at home. At least they weren't supposed to play with them at home. All of that kind of changed in 2007 when Apple introduced its iPhone. And the iPhone of 2007 is not the iPhone of 2017. But that moment put in the hands of the masses a device that had internet connection, email, photos, music, videos, games, apps, etc. And so the mobile device industry that was kind of growing at that time was put into the pockets of everybody across the world, and that caused in technology space for large enterprises, but also for the IT service providers that that's my space, caused a seismic shift in how we have to deal with clients, how we have to have our offerings put together, how we recruit people, HR policies, and what we offer to the clients to help them adapt to this changing world. And remember that in 2007, in 2008, we had the Lehman Brothers crisis, which slowed development. It made the market really skittish. After coming out of the financial crisis from the internet bubble, we went back into a financial crisis with the financial world. So that slowed some development. I want to explain a little bit about how IT providers worked before 2007, which I'll call the old world. In the old world, our clients were the IT directors of the large enterprises, and those IT directors were in charge of a legacy system that managed that company's IT. And when they had a project to enhance their legacy system, they would sit down and they would take 4 or 5 months to come up with a list of specifications. They would put a project out on the market for bid from different IT providers, and about a month later, they would get the proposals of the different IT companies. They'd choose one, and they'd put out the project, and the project could take anywhere from 1 year to 5 years or more in time. So to get an IT project done in the old world took anywhere from between 18 months and 5-6 years. So today, in the new world, IT providers also address business line managers and directors. And those people can't wait 6 years for their project to get done by IT. So there's a lot of tension between the IT departments and the business lines in large enterprises. Business line directors need to get something out in about 6 weeks, between 3 and 6 weeks time. And that requires that IT providers have experts in all of the technology, but also expertise in the vertical that that client is addressing. And so IT providers have moved from a B2B model with their large enterprise clients to a B2B to C model, because we have to take into account that end customer, whether it's a 14-year-old who wants to connect on the iPhone or his smartphone with his friends and exchange money or play a game, or whether it's a very experienced business person who needs that smartphone to get business done. All of the enterprises need to take that into account. I'll take just a minute to talk about Sopra Steria, which is my company, not personally mine, but I work for them. 3 years ago, beginning of 2015, the two companies merged. They were competitors, European IT provider competitors. And that merger addressed many of the topics that were mentioned by my colleagues, and really accelerated our transformation in addressing our clients' needs. And when I say it accelerated, I mean the company has spent a lot of time reworking all of its offerings so that they are more solutions-based. They incorporate IP into the responses of our clients, open the doors to using different technologies in an easy way for our clients. But it also means changing recruitment policies, changing HR policies so that we make sure we have the right skills and competencies for our clients when they need them. To illustrate that, I'll show a short film. It's not as exciting as Matrix because it's an internal film for the public sector. And then I'll give you some more examples of projects that we've worked on after that.
Everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you.
Oui, je crois qu'il va falloir regarder maintenant en face aussi la capacité de l'État à maîtriser son informatique.
It is hard to imagine life without Amazon.com.
Il faudrait regarder en face le fait que la NASA n'arrive plus à ravitailler la station Mir et qu'un milliardaire de la Silicon Valley fait des fusées qui atterrissent à leur point de départ. Il ne faudrait pas que ça devienne une habitude de trop nombreux sujets.
Technology can shape growth. Help us be more agile. We can use technology to change, disrupt the landscape of the industries that we participate in.
C'est une première en France qui promet bien des nuits blanches aux hackers. La Direction générale des finances publiques a ouvert le code source de son calculateur des impôts pour le mettre à la disposition de tous.
Yeah, definitely proud to be working for the government.
It's really not about our ambitions, but it's the application of our ambitions so that we can deliver digital transformation.
So we used that video to kick off our year this year in January, so that was public sector related, and you can see some of the changes that governments are looking at working on. This is a manufacturing client. We work a lot for Airbus. In the old world, Airbus would meet each morning. That's not actually Airbus. I picked a different picture. But they would meet each morning, and the boss would hand out the projects to the different employees who would go off and work on their project. They needed different pieces. They needed different tools. They had a paper handbook of the process they were to follow. And as they went through their day, if something was missing, a tool, a nut, a bolt, a wheel for an airplane, that stopped the process. And then they would have to go to the manager, order the piece. Of course, it wasn't on site, and you can see the delays, and you probably read about a lot of the delays in the press a number of years ago. Today, the same employee has been trained, arrives to the office, to the factory, picks up his tablet, goes to his place of work. He's doing the same job. He still needs to get that wheel on the airplane, but he's assisted by robots on the factory floor who will go and get, at the right time, the tools and the pieces that he needs to do his job. He's wearing goggles that have replaced the book, the paper book that he was using to follow his process, so his hands stay on the job while he's reading through the goggles what the different processes are. And you can imagine the efficiency that's created in that kind of work environment. So that's one example of the manufacturing sector. In the transportation sector, we've all, I think, taken trains in Europe, and we've all stood in front of a departure board like this with our coffee, our newspaper, our phones, and et cetera, waiting for the track number that our train was going to show up on. And we had a paper ticket in our hand that we had to validate before we got on the train. That's changed. This is for SNCF, which is the large French railway supplier. So we've built an application for them that manages, kind of similar to the airplane applications, but all of your ticketing, changing your seats, changing your what train you want to take and where your connections. Also enables you to check in. You don't have to validate a paper ticket. It's on your phone, and you have the track number on your phone as well, so you don't have to wait in the station. You can go directly to your train. Something that's in development but not yet live, not yet delivered, are, again, the goggles for the train controllers who check the tickets, so that when in the future, they'll be able to walk into a train wagon. They look at everybody in this room, and there'll be a little green or red dot above each of your heads, meaning you paid your ticket or you did not pay your ticket. You can imagine, again, we're looking at efficiency for the company, SNCF, but also for the users, the C clients of the trains. This is my favorite one, retail. So we work at Sopra Steria, we work a lot for, in Italy, for the high-end luxury clothing designers, which is great for me. This is an example of Fendi. We also work for Ferragamo, Gucci, etc. It's still a pleasure for me to go into the boutique, to talk to the salesperson, to try on the clothes, to choose what I like. But it's not a pleasure when they don't have my size. So with what we've helped develop, so for Fendi, it's a stock management tool, and it's a customer relationship tool. We need the data from the customers in terms of size, color preferences, fabric preferences, etc., so that the retailers can push new items. If they know from the app that we've developed that I hate red, they won't send me red. They'll send me blue or black or brown. I can enter all of my sizes in the application, and I can put on hold a dress that I like, that I see. If I happen to be traveling and my luggage is lost in the taxi, I can connect, order, and have something delivered to my hotel. I can still go into a boutique, but I have the advantage as a client of using the application how I want to use it, when I want to use it. So that's a third example. Last example, financial services. We've all gone into banks. We've all stood in waiting for the tellers in line. In the old world, banks built a wall between the client and the customer themselves as a protection, security, etc. In today's world, it's completely open. If you walk into a bank agency today, there aren't teller desks. Things are open. They have kiosks. You can speak with a teller on the little screen. You can do a lot of your banking that way. You can also do it with your phones or your apps. Payments are more fluid with those kinds of things, and these are just the tip of the iceberg for the banking community. They are working on, between their legacy system and what's going on in the apps, building connections around the communities of their clients based on demographics. Again, we have data that comes into play here that's important for the banks to be able to package offerings to their clients. So for credits or where to find different things that they need as a banking customer. So to close, I'll just reiterate what my colleagues have said. There's a lot of opportunity for everybody in this room, whether you're a lawyer, a banker, an investor, an entrepreneur. All of the changes that are going on caused by technology and in this space create opportunities for the companies who will make bad strategic choices and end up in a corner being bought out or merging with somebody else. And there's new winners that you should be able to identify as you're going through, as Parag said, and creating a basket of different investment opportunities. And hopefully some of you will find the next Uber or the next Airbnb while they're still small and nobody sees them coming. So thank you all. I think we're open to your questions.